Disney, Netflix, Comcast, and Hollywood in general have collectively lost over $500 billion in market value in 2022, with their left-leaning, woke, and often grooming content accounting for most of the carnage. Hi, my name is Kyle, and welcome to the channel. I'm going to talk to you about this topic, and we're going to stay mostly in this Breitbart article here. We're also going to jump over to the Hollywood Reporter and talk to you about why Hollywood can't figure out the obvious, that you kind of have to have good content for people to want to stay on board. We're going to talk about how Joe Biden inflation is causing people not to want to stick around for content that they don't want, especially when they have to do things like heat their houses or pay for groceries or give clothes to their children, that sort of thing. You know, those minor things that people need to do on a daily basis. Yeah.
It's only a trifling matter.
So streaming services would be second fiddle to that, which is another reason why this is happening. But ultimately, it's coming down to the fact that content just is horrible. Look at Disney, where their shares have plummeted to its lowest level in nearly a decade as concerns mount over profitability. Netflix, they just fired 30 employees in their largest layoff since their subscribers started to leave them in droves. And we're going to talk to you about at the end here why the studios now are panicking, because they're figuring out now that even though people are leaving cable, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go to your streaming service, because ultimately your content sucks and they won't pay for that. So let's kick it off here in this article here from John Nolte. Obviously, major concerns here. Studios such as Walt Disney, Netflix, and Comcast down $542 billion in market value. When you add those into other media giants as well, we'll cover some of those as well. The Dow Jones Media Titans Index, which tracks the performance of 30 of the world's biggest media companies, shed 40% this year, with its total market value declining from $1.35 trillion with a T to $808 billion, according to this Financial Times report. That is tremendous. Hollywood's horrible year was a result of a 1-2 punch of a downturn in the streaming market, coupled with consumers continuing to cut the cord. That means basically leaving cable television by the millions. The advertising market has cratered as households cut spending as the cost of essentials like food and energy continue to skyrocket due to good old Joe's economic policy and Biden inflation, which I mentioned a little bit before. Let's talk a little bit about something that's an outlier in some ways, because non-woke films are kind of not normal. But films like Top Gun Maverick, which by my estimation has profited $1.5 billion so far, is not one of those. It's a non-woke, pro-America, masculine film, which is, I would say, good for the entire family. I mean, there may be some language there, but it's way more watchable than the first Top Gun, which you may know is an adult film. But Top Gun Maverick is a film that hits all four quadrants. It's fantastic, and it's going to be a formula that I hope people adopt, but it seems like Hollywood just doesn't get it. They don't understand that if your content is woke, people are not going to go see it, and thus you're going to go broke, period. And here you have Disney, whose stock dropped 40%. They fired their CEO, Bob Chapek, and brought back on board Bob Iger, who was actually the guy who started the whole downturn to begin with, so you go figure that out. Disney, whose stock is once on course for the worst since 1974, spent 2022 embracing radical LGBTQ activism and waging calamitous political war on DeSantis, the governor of Florida, over the state's anti-grooming parental rights in education law. But people who subscribe to Disney are family-oriented. They don't want their kids to be shown content of that nature. That is just clear. People don't want that, and so their share prices have suffered because of it. Not to mention, Disney doubled down, not to mention an email that came out or a leaked video that came out about their agenda going forward with Disney that also did not help. And so their content is just in the toilet now because of these philosophies that they continue to push down people's throats. Netflix, experienced an unprecedented 2 consecutive quarters of subscriber losses this year, which resulted in layoffs and cost cutting across the board. We mentioned that right here. 300 employees were axed in the largest layoff since their subscriber downturn. That's a problem for them. And other big losers include Paramount Global, whose stock has dropped more than 40%, and Warner Brothers Discovery, who's the parent company of CNN, and we all know what CNN's doing these days, has tumbled more than 60%. Comcast, the parent of NBC and MSNBC, as well as Universal, is down more than 30%, and it goes on and on and on. Leftist Hollywood continues to deliver woke dud after woke dud, and it's awesome to see their profits cratering as a result. Get woke, go broke. Now, let's talk about a little bit about cable companies and why the people cutting cable did not translate to subscribers going up for these streaming services. And what I want to talk to you about here is the fact that Hollywood does not seem to get it. They think that if the cable subscriptions go down, in other words, people drop the cable company and go to Netflix or Disney Plus or Paramount Plus or Hulu or whatever, that those services should go up, right? But what's happening is the opposite. Those services are also going down. And why is that? We have a good article here from John Nolte again from Breitbart. Says here, studios are panicking as streaming fails to offset cord cutting. Yeah, because your content sucks. And so he lays out here a very, very interesting point here, which I find fascinating and something that I'm going to dig in much more. But it comes down to essentially that cable companies had a monopoly. They could give you whatever they wanted to give you. You had to take it. You couldn't do anything about it. So what if you don't want the home shopping dog network? I just want ESPN. I just want my local channels, and I just want HBO, and that's it. I don't have to pay for these 10,000 other channels that are garbage that I'm still paying for because it's all bundled in. And that's the whole point of it, was that these companies no longer had to give you good content because they were giving you whatever you got. And there was no incentive for the companies to actually put forth content that you really wanted to see. The far left Hollywood Reporter thinks it's doing journalism with this hilarious story right here. When the numbers don't add up, recession fears don't dent Hollywood's streaming ambitions. About how all the major entertainment multinationals are freaking out over the fact that cord cutting is accelerating and streaming revenue is failing to make up for that shortfall. Why is that? He has a really good answer right here. What's happening is 3.5 million people are canceling their cable satellite packages each year. That is a massive loss of revenue for entertainment outlets. Why? Well, as I have been explaining for 15 years now, merit has nothing to do with cable TV profits. Whether you watch Disney Grooming Channel, MTV, CNN LOL, TBS, TCM, MSNBC, Fox News, ESPN, or all other well-known networks, the provider studios that own these networks all get a piece of your monthly bill. For example, just because you, like the rest of America, do not watch CNN because it's still part of your cable package, you are subsidizing CNN. Every month, something like $1 of your cable bill goes to CNN's parent company. Same for all other networks you don't watch. Now do the math. $12 a month times 100 million households equals $1.2 billion for CNN per year, even though no one watches CNN. The whole cable game is rigged. This is a very, very important point because this means the destruction of these companies because people do not want to watch this content anymore because the options are now they can go anywhere they want. They can go to Paramount, they can go to Hulu, they can go to Netflix, they can go to YouTube, they can go to TikTok for that matter, because it has nothing to do with the actual content. It has to do with eyeballs on the screen and taking people's free time away from them. If I can watch YouTube or Netflix or even Instagram Reels for free for an hour, some people do, that takes away revenue from all those people and puts more money in the pockets of Instagram and YouTube and, TikTok, which isn't a good thing either. But the thing is, the people can choose that without giving money away in that manner because all that is free. And so there's a whole nother battle there as well, which brings me to his point right here where he says, He was predicting and championing for over a decade that streaming would not only eventually kill the cable TV cash cow, streaming would force these entertainment outlets to do something they did not have to do with their rigged cable system. That is, provide news and entertainment people actually want to watch. Wow. Why? Because we will not subscribe to their lousy streaming service without good content. In other words, the studios are now forced to make money based on merit. And here goes this Hollywood Reporter guy. He says this. He says, it was our belief that cord-cutting losses would be offset by gains in streaming. This has not been the case. Yeah. And John comes down here and gives a bullet point of what's actually happening in the order it's happening. Number one, thanks to the rigged cable game, studios made a fortune no matter how lousy the product was. Number two, without the rigged cable game, studios must attract streaming subscribers with great content. Now, at one point, Netflix could do that, but they were the only game in town, and they weren't woke when they first came out, but now they are, and people are scattering there and going other places, and now Netflix is having problems too. Number three, streaming providers are spending tens of billions of dollars to produce woke garbage that nobody watches. Number four, streamers are losing tens of millions of customers, and that is where they sit, and they're in trouble. And we know this because they're now offering advertising. So soon, Netflix and Disney will make you watch commercials to watch their services. So you're gonna pay for Netflix, you're gonna pay for Disney Plus, and you're gonna get commercials on top of it. So they're gonna offer you a ad option subscription package. And if you want more evidence to this, you can see right here, it says that Disney and if you want more evidence to this, Disney Plus and Netflix have already announced their ad-supported tiers. And Warner Brothers, their CEO, David Zaslav, has said there's one plan at his company as well, and they predict that there's going to be, by 2024, nearly half of all streaming video-on-demand providers will have a free ad-supported option similar to Paramount's Pluto TV. So now, people are going to have to watch commercials when they're watching their content, which to me is the only way they're going to stay afloat if people can even stay with them to begin with. But we shall see. And so what's your thought on this and how Disney, Comcast, and Netflix have contributed to Hollywood losing a net value of $500+ billion in 1 year? Let me know what you think about that. And also check out this video right here about Disney's latest children's film set to lose $147 million by itself.